Hey, welcome back to Ministry Talks Podcast.
What's happening, everybody? I'm doing good, man. Good to see you.
You too, man. Hey, on the last one, we told you guys we were going to give you a life update. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. But before we get there, we just want to say thank you so much to all of our subscribers, those that have been with us. And if this is your first time, we want to welcome you to Ministry Talks Podcast. And if you have not done so, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe and follow us to get the notifications on the latest updates in the seasons and the episodes. We also want to say, that we are an affiliate of Riverside FM, and we're thankful for this platform on season 8 moving forward as Ministry Talks Podcast is growing. If you like what you're hearing, you can go to ministrytalkspodcast@gmail.com, send us a question, let us know you like what you're hearing, or maybe you would like for us to cover something in the seasons to come. And also for those that are subscribing and maybe you're thinking about a one-time, gift or a help, we would love for you to go to buymeacoffee.com/Ministry Talks Podcast. There's some options on there where we would appreciate your support as we are growing in this season. So
absolutely.
Hey, with that in mind and with that out of the way, Pastor Wes, how has life been for you in 2024 as we are coming down the end of a pretty big season, end of a busy season? How are you, man? What's been going on?
Yeah, man. It's already the end of October, and this year started with a bang, and it started pretty full, and I didn't think it could get any fuller. But it did. And, and so, I'm doing pretty good though. Got a bunch of irons in the fire. A couple of them will be gone, hopefully by the end of November is what I'm planning. Okay. And as things go, if they go according to plan, which things have been doing pretty well so far, come the end of November, I'll have 3, one of them being the podcast. We've talked about, our recording and planning schedule and everything. And so all of that will just kind of be put on hold for a moment, and we'll let the holidays happen. And so, it's been good. It's been a lot. It hasn't been unproductive. Let me put it that way. It hasn't been unproductive. I don't feel like I've wasted a bunch of time this year, which is good, because sometimes you look back and you're like, oh man, where did my month go? Like,
right.
where did my year go? Oh man, I wish I could have accomplished so much more. There's been a lot that has been accomplished this year. And so, I give God some praise for that, and also the team here at the church. And it's been good, man. It's been good. Well, what about you? What's going on in the Zay household?
Man, you know what? I love that you mentioned it's all been good. Nothing's been gone to waste, because, as we're coming in the end of October, this is my last time being a part-time student. Right. So shifting into January, and I've shared this with you offline, and I think I might have even shared it in an episode prior in this season, but I'm shifting from part-time to full-time, which is a big deal, but it also is a great deal because now this is for the benefit of graduating in 2026 of June instead of July of 2027. And I just, I finished all of my prerequisite classes during the summer, and mind you, summer camp went on and I'm still doing classes. I'm still preaching. I'm still making sure kids are keeping 10 fingers and 10 toes, and my leaders are getting the coffee that they need, and they're sleeping, and nobody's breaking anything. So I agree with you. This has been a very busy and productive season, but it's also been a season where I know you and I have said how much we were thankful for the grace period of rest without recording, and we appreciate you guys giving us that space. But I think for me, man, it's just looking at the calendar. You have taught me, let the calendar be the bad guy. And we say that respectfully because, as much as I would love to commit, sometimes I can overcommit. And I just believe, taking it one step at a time, looking at the holiday schedule, looking at what my wife has going on, looking at what the girls have going on. Bella's getting ready to start basketball season, and we're trying to get Zoe plugged into some little things to keep her proactive. This is just one of those seasons. And I don't know about you, Pastor West, but I think maybe for our listeners that are tuning in, maybe you've had a season like that where you're just going and going and going.
Oh, yeah.
this is my encouragement to myself. It's just a season.
Right.
It will not last forever, but I am trying to be a good steward over this season. And I think that's kind of where I'm at, man. I'm just trying to steward better over my family and my own health. And I've shared that with you, and we can get into that later on. But yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at.
Man. Yeah. Actually, I think it was season 7, episode 1. 1 or 2. We actually talked about the different seasons of life and what happens and what comes and what goes. And so, which is actually pretty ironic because, you know, we both after season 7, we both jumped into an actual season of, you know, doing more and being more productive. And so, just for example, if I might, right. Life updates.
Please.
So, my wife and I, so Pastor Jennifer and I, we really do enjoy taking our vacation time. I get a whole month, and with Pastor Jen's new job, so she works outside of the church. In case, you know, people think, oh yeah, she's, you know, just at the church with you. No, she works for a school district here locally, and she is in the let me see if I can get this right. She is the accounts payable for the capital projects team of an entire school district. And so she's an accountant nerd is what it is. I call her that all the time. Huge. Like you and your numbers, girl. But huge. she does a lot of work. And so Jen knows how to work hard, but she also knows how to play hard. Well, that was August for us. Jen. Right. Okay. That was July and August for us. We went on 3 or 4 camping trips. Let me back it up. In February, I was invited to a pretty exclusive pastors only retreat. I think there were only like 12 of us that got invited. Okay. Well, that was in California. So that was my first trip. Then we took the family to Arizona for midwinter break.
Nice.
And so we were out in Arizona for just over a week, chasing down some sunshine when it was still cold here in Nanabubu. And then summer hit, and we had multiple camping trips that we went to, a couple in Oregon, a few all over Washington. We were just all over the place. And then in August, so we were in Oregon. We drive back home from Oregon. I wash all my clothes, I shower, I sleep, I get up, we do church the next day, and then I get on an airplane, and then I'm in Tegucigalpa, Honduras for an entire week. And so, then
I remember those.
Yeah. So that was,
you were texting me, so I'm like, bro, I'm here.
I was July and August, and exactly. Yeah. And then I got stuck in Miami, and, you know, no offense to Miami. It's really the airlines issue. It's not a Miami issue, but I can't stand going through Miami anymore. It always seems to be an issue. Okay. So we're going to choose a different airline is what we're going to do. But yeah, so yes. I did all of that in April. I got to hire a person here on staff, and I've never trained an evangelist before, right? But I hired him specifically to be for leadership development in evangelism and outreach, and the guy's just tearing it up. And so I'm getting to train an evangelist. He's made multiple connections to other places that now we actually have another service on every other Sunday in the fall for Green Lake Senior Living Center, which is about a block from the church. We actually go and bring them a 2:00 service twice a month. And so we bring Jesus, and we bring a church service to a home. It's not an assisted living home. It's just a place where folks live. And we're like, you know what? Sure. We'll come in and bring you a church service. So that's been great. Taking our vacations, getting into evangelism. We're started to do something called the Street Team Ministry, which is where we go out and we serve the homeless of the downtown Renton community once a month with food, hygiene packs, a bunch of clothes. We pray for them. And big shout out to both God and to Chris, who we got to hire. 7, where we've been able to help 7 people get off the streets, get off of drugs, get into a program.
Let's go, Chris.
Find Jesus and like change their life. And so it's been amazing to be a part of. Not to mention that I'm also a part of the Renton Downtown Partnership. Partnership.
I'm taking a breath for you.
Exactly. It's it's a great nonprofit group that basically um, supports all of the businesses of downtown Renton,
Yeah.
big or small. And we put on events throughout the year to try and raise money for ourselves, but then hopefully all of those events benefit the other businesses as well.
Mhm.
There's there's grants and programs that the businesses can opt in for, and if they are awarded it through RDP, then they get grant money to do things for their business, like outdoor cleanup, or maybe a facelift, or different lighting project for their whatever it is that they if they fit that grant, then and they can get awarded. And we are we are now we've been in the middle of an executive director search, and so that's a big deal. That means right now all of the work of RDP is run by 100% is run by volunteers. There's
Right.
nobody on staff doing anything, and so that's kind of a big deal. And that's been going on. I think I'm at the end of my third year with them for that.
Yeah.
Um, our sponsor for the first couple of seasons, or seasons 2 and 3 and 4 or whatever, Beans for Giving.
Yeah.
I'm still working with Mr. Tony at Beans for Giving to try and make sure that he still has a um, little bit of reach,
Mhm.
working on some marketing plans with him, and that's been pretty cool. So shout out Mr. Tony, beansforgiving.com. That is not a current sponsor,
No,
but because we do
we do
coffee all
love
the
coffee
time, we
every
do love
episode.
coffee. So I've been working with him, trying to get some of that done. Starting in June, I started a master's program with WGU,
Yeah.
Western Governors University. And as the airing of this, I have about a month and a week left
Let's
to
go, man.
finish my capstone project. So, so working really hard on getting a master's of education in learning experience design.
Yeah.
Not to mention, we also are in the middle of a prayer and fasting here with the church for our nation. Next week will be elections.
Come on,
And
man. It's getting
so
real too.
I've just been really trying to make sure that people hear that if you belong to Christ, you belong to a kingdom that is above and beyond this world.
Yes.
And, it doesn't matter who gets elected. We have to be a part of the kingdom, right? We've got to follow the rules of the kingdom. And
Right.
so that's been really good, really, really trying to go for all of that. And we have a bunch of new families that are in the church. This airs on the 20th. Yeah, this is airing on the 29th. So in 2 days, my son will be having surgery, and not going to divulge all of that information, but if you can be praying
Right.
for the boy.
Gotcha.
And but yeah, so just a little bit.
Yeah.
We're recording season 8. We're planning season 9. We're trying to get some
Mhm.
interviews going on so that we can kind of take a holiday break. And
Yeah.
so just a few things. And the last thing that I guess I'm trying to throw out there is so every October, the leadership of our church, we do a big planning meeting. I think I've had
Yeah.
you in on that one time, where
Yeah.
we pray, we cover the calendar, and then we actually are like, Lord, guide us. Where do you want us to go next year? I'm a
Right.
very firm believer that the Lord knows the future, so He can tell you what He wants for your future. You just got to ask Him, and then you
Amen.
got to sit there and listen for a little while, and that's what we
Yep.
do. And so, yeah, that's coming up, and so we've been doing just a little bit going on.
Come
And
on, man.
I'm almost done with my 25 books that I'm trying to read this year, just for my own personal fun. And
Bro.
so, yeah,
Bro.
bro, went to a leadership tune-up conference in September. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah. So we got a few things going on, and it's been good. Like I said, it's been good. It's been
Yeah.
productive. There's nothing I wouldn't try and do all over again.
Right.
I'm definitely I've got notes jotted down, and I've got things like, hey, if I were to do this, I'm going to do it this way next time.
Yep.
Don't do this next time,
Yep.
or do this a little better, or a little more, or that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's kind of the life update here. So when I'm done with school, I'm gonna get back and focus in on my health. So
Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully by the end of season 9, beginning of season 10, we'll I'll either have a beard or I'll have less chin, one of the two.
I think you could. I think you should do both. I think you
I know,
should do
right?
both.
I know, right? I think that'd be great.
I think Pastor Jen would greatly appreciate her bearded
Right.
man.
The both. So
Oh
that's what
man.
I've been got going on, man. And I know you've been just as productive going. And so give us what you've been doing, man.
Well, let's go back. I love that you gave a recap, man. If we go back, um, we started our vacation in May.
Mhm.
Like Pastor Jen, Heather also works outside of the church.
Right.
Heather has been doing property management for over 25 years. And so she works from home, but also works remotely, where she oversees 5 different properties in the Seattle area, downtown Seattle area, Mercer Island, Roosevelt, all of those, so she's overseeing those. And that's huge. That's a
Yeah.
huge undertaking to look at not one, but 5 different properties. Each property has a different owner. Each property has its own different, challenges, plus helping me in youth ministry and young adult and internship on top of everything in the house, overseeing 3 girls. And I've shared this before, Savannah moved back home, so she's in the house now. And,
Right. Right.
just to get our home back, to get our girls back, and man, we've talked offline and I won't get into everything, but to have her back home has been a huge blessing. So,
Yeah.
sleep is a little bit better, when you can look down the hall and when Heather walks in, she just wants to see her girls breathing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh,
So
yeah.
we went to Disneyland in May. And that just kind of
Okay.
started our journey. We had a great time. It was a great family vacation, but you know what? I was still doing school. And this is me in the middle doing math homework. And I'm going on the Incredicoaster 6 times. And then I get off the Incredicoaster, I'm checking grades. And then I'm getting on not the Hollywood Tower of Terror, but the Gardens of the Galaxy ride. So like, I'm in
Nice.
between checking grades, and then I'm doing an initial post on my phone while I'm waiting in a 45-minute line, because I can do both. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
literally doing a post. I hit submit. I get on a ride. I get off, and then I get a notification. Okay, grades. So like, I'm in California
Nice.
doing homework, fully vacationing. If you were to ask me how I did it, this is going to sound super churchy, but it's just the grace that I'm in this season to be able to do it.
Right.
And so
Right.
that is May. We come back still full fledged, right? I literally get off the plane May 21st, which was a Tuesday. And I preached the midweek service. I told you this. I preached the midweek service on the 22nd, which was a Wednesday. And then do what I got to do, go home, do homework. The next day I'm preaching at a conference.
Right. Yeah. I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
And this is like fresh off of a plane, doing homework. But once again, let me be honest. I prayed for this season. I prayed for God to open the door for me to be in full-time ministry. And I prayed to be in school. And I prayed to be able to have a family. And I prayed to be able to do these things. And I'm doing it. And I want to be honest by saying, I just want to steward over it well, which I believe I am. And you help me with that to make sure that I'm staying on top of the things I need to. And if I'm doing too much, it's like, hey, is this too much? So that's May. June, you get busy. And then we go to summer camp in July. We always have summer camp in July. We've never, I think the only time I've ever done summer camp in August was probably year 3 being at the river. And I told Heather, we will never do this again. And so we've never
Not in
done
August,
it. So,
man. Oh, yeah.
It's hard. It's complicated, to try to ask for you to pay for your child to go to camp. And then you need to get your kids school clothes and shoes and stuff like that. So we've just never done it.
Yeah.
And then I think moving in, man, we went to Chelan. Lake Chelan has been a huge family tradition for us in the summer.
Nice.
So we went, man, what's that holiday before school starts? Is that Labor Day?
Yeah, Labor Day.
So we went to Lake Chelan on Labor Day weekend, and we went the day after Heather's birthday. And bro, we just had a blast. Girls rented jet skis.
Nice.
Lakeview Drive, double bacon cheeseburger, more times than I care to admit.
Nice.
We didn't have Westside Pizza. We had Myth Pizza, or local Myth Pizza. I don't know if you've ever been up there. I feel like their pizza is better than Westside. I said it, and that's it. You can fight me later. But dude, we honestly just needed a time to get away and recalibrate really quick before we got busy with Zoe in school. Bella is a senior this year. So we're focusing heavy on that. You know, like we want to honor her. We want to celebrate her. We're honoring and celebrating Zoe first year in school. Getting her acclimated to things. And so one of the things that I told Heather I wanted to do when we got back from summer camp was before November, I wanted to lock in a summer camp for next year.
Right.
We had a great summer camp. I think I shared this with you. This was the best summer camp I've ever been a part of, but I didn't want to just end it there. And because there was such a buzz with our kids and our leaders, everybody's like summer camp. Mm-hmm. I can honestly say, now by the time this airs, it would have already been done, but we have a summer camp location going into 2025.
Awesome.
We have dates, and I have the theme for summer camp and the theme for the year. And one of the things I've learned when I sat down with you a couple years ago, when you sat down with a team of people to pray and seek the Lord for, you know, your calendar, I do that now. And we prayed and fasted September 1st through the 21st. And the Lord spoke to me, made it very plain and clear. Isaiah, this is the direction for youth ministry. This is the direction I'm sending you and your team. And this is your word. Go for it. And I won't share that now. I'll share that with you offline. I think I shared it with you, but I'll share it with you again offline. Mm-hmm. But we have the direction of where we're going. And I sat with our team and I said, hey, what sucked at summer camp? Because, you know, I just want to know, like, hey, there's never a perfect camp, but I want to know, what can we do to get better? How can we improve? And honestly, bro, the feedback was only 2 things. And it was 2 things that were simply can be tweaked. Everything else was like, Isaiah, this camp really was a success. And that was hard for me to hear because I always am like, no. But to our episode that we did this season, nobody drifts into greatness.
Right. Yeah.
If I'm looking at you and me right now, not saying that we're great, but nobody does drift into greatness, but you have to do things. And sometimes it takes a sacrifice, staying up late, doing homework, or getting up early. I loved how you broke it down into borrowing time. If I'm going to sleep early now, that means I'm trying to get ahead. So, you know, there's that. I'm excited about school. I'm a junior in college, which I never thought I would ever do and or be.
Come on, man. Come on.
And you've known me for a long time, and I've always been intimidated of like, man, do I go to school? Do I not go to school? Can I handle it? And bro, I'm killing it right now. I'm just going to be honest with you. I feel like I've got a good flow and a rhythm. I would say, man, for me and Heather, you know, getting our health in order has been a priority this summer. You know, making sure like we're eating correctly, we're walking, we're exercising. I'm a huge gym rat, but you know, I got into an accident about a year or so ago that stopped me.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And honestly, it was a blessing in disguise because I'm a goer. Like I can easily run, no problem. And I don't know how to rest. And I had to like literally stop because my body was like, Isaiah, if you don't stop, it'll stop for you.
Yeah, if you don't stop, I'm gonna stop. Yeah.
And that was real scary. My wife got real honest with me. She was like, I just think you're doing too much. I think you're going to the gym too much. I think you might need to scale back. It was stuff I didn't want to hear, but it was stuff I needed to hear.
Yeah.
And so the biggest thing, man, is like, I'm just taking it one day at a time. So, you know, we've got summer camp and then we're moving into a season of, I'm on schools now. And so probably in the middle of spring of this year, the head football coach at Kent Meridian came in. I met him and we hit it off immediately. And I said, what can I do to serve you? Like, what can I do to help? And he said, bro, how do you feel about weight rooms and football and conditioning? I said, that's everything I love to do. And I got certified through the WIAA, where I'm certified as a football coach. And for the whole entire summer, I was at KM helping condition, weight room, strength. And honestly, it took me out of the office, which is what I love. And it put me it put me on the field. It put me in the field. It put me like, if I'm going to go hang with kids, I got to go where they're at, you know?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So I remember every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I would be there. And then I would, you know, I couldn't commit on Thursday and Friday because Friday I'm off and I needed to protect that day. And Thursday is my Friday, but it's also a day where homework is due. So I just told him, here's what I can commit to. Is this okay? And he said, Isaiah, I'll just take anything you can give me.
Right.
But it
I'll
opened
just
the
take
door
it.
for me. It opened the door for me to be out there helping coach during football games. And now our youth ministry isn't just growing because of like one summer camp, although I believe that summer camp helped shift a hunger and a desire for our young people to be there. But I'm just building relationships with young guys, and I'm starting to see these young guys come to our church. And it's really
Nice.
just me hanging with them in the gym. Now you're hanging with me in church. But they didn't just stumble in. It was me going,
Right.
spotting you, helping you
Right.
fix your form. And while I'm at it, man, I'll say this. I got young people that want to start campus ministries. So I'm like, what do I have to do? How much budget do I have? I'll bleed it dry to bring you pizza to,
For real. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
my perspective is, man, yes, I'm busy, but it's good. So like I'm in school, Zoe's in school, Heather's busy with work. I'm also helping on a football team. I'm helping with our Bible study at church, but we're just trying to find different pockets in different ways where how can
Yeah.
we help be utilized in this season? You know, like we
Mm-hmm.
love working with youth, but we also want to come alongside the parents of our youth. And so that means we're sitting in a Bible study, doing a Tabernacle of Moses study for 7 weeks. But
Oh,
those
that's cool.
7
Yeah.
but those 7 weeks getting to know the parents of our young people is bettering the relationship. So yeah, we're tired when we get home, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing fruit right now.
Right. Right.
Now here's a question that I have, because I always have to ask a question. It's a twofold question.
Okay.
How do you keep a healthy balance when you know you have so much going on?
That's a good question. My initial answer is going to sound a little cheesy, but I'll break it down for you. So, Pastor Jen is my gift from the Lord, right?
Amen.
The Bible says that she is the helpmate, right?
Yes.
An equal completer, basically. Not good for man to be alone. I'm not alone in any of this. So when I'm doing too much, my honey says, "You're doing too much."
That's
Right?
good.
She
That's
does
really
not
good.
pull punches.
No, that's really good.
When I need to get off my duff, right? She says, "Get off your duff." Okay.
Pastor Jen is raw.
She is. But I can do the things that I do, and I have a lot of the ability and the drive and a lot of the, because I know that I have support from my bride. And at the same time, I also have she helps me put up guardrails.
Yeah.
And so, in the beginning, when I mentioned that I was going to be able to have a few irons out of the fire, right? So the analogy that if you put all of these irons in the fire, then you're taking one out and you brand this one and then you brand that one. And then,
Right.
and then you also take it out and you got to fold, or if you're a blacksmith, you're folding the metal and you got to do, and if you have too many, you're going to burn them, you're going to destroy them, you're going to damage them. And so, the irons in the fire analogy is definitely, I think, what this season has been. I've said yes to a lot, but I've also seen God do a lot. There was an entire season just post pandemic. If you can consider 22, 23 post pandemic, but just post pandemic, where I didn't do a lot. I was not necessarily battling depression, but I was in a depressive state. And then through prayer and fasting, and then I would have to battle it if it came back, and then prayer and fasting, and, relying on my friends and relying on my God and relying on my bride and, all of that. And so I just didn't do a whole lot. This year was totally different. I put a bunch of irons in the fire, and I've been able to keep them going and be productive in all of them. And like I said, everything's been really good. Well, come the end of November, I've got 3 that are going to be gone. I'm almost going to feel like, what do I do with this extra, 15 hours a month? Like,
wow. Wow. 15 hours, bro. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, and it's not like I'm driving to or dedicated those 15 hours in different places, but like you're checking emails, you're taking phone calls, you're pulling reports, right?
Yep. That's true.
I'm doing the capstone, right? The capstone
Yep.
has been taking a lot of my time
Yeah.
because I have to get it. I have to be competent. I have to get it done right. I have to have at least a B or I don't get to pass. And so, you know, I don't get the degree conferred upon me. And the motivator behind that is if I'm not done in November, I have to pay for another 6-month, session. And if it
We're
only
not
takes
doing
me
that.
2 to 3 weeks to be done with my capstone after that, I still pay for the entire 6 months. And so that's a big motivator to, you know, to get all of that done. But then once that one's gone, I'm going to have some time to do Christmas the way I want to. We're going to be
Yes.
doing our Love and Serve Christmas for Project Rohi this year. And I can't
Love
wait
it.
to actually get into that. It's going to be awesome. And so that's our Honduras family.
Yeah.
For those of you who are watching Project Rohi, I'll actually drop that link into the description in the show notes. And so because Rohi is a huge part of my heart now. The teachers there are amazing. The director and her family are amazing. Those kids just, I mean, they have a visceral faith that they live in. Give us this day our daily bread. They live that out.
Yeah.
And so,
So I
so
love that.
that's one of the ways. That's one of the ways. So
you know what I would say, and I've done this for a while, man. I take a mini sabbatical after summer camp. And this year in particular, right before summer camp hit, one of my leaders, Justin, brother of mine, he, you know, leads worship at our church. He's actually like the youth worship leader, but he's on staff there. He sent a message into like our group chat. So we have a group chat with, you know, my wife, his wife, and then another good friend of ours, Matt, and his wife. So we have this big old, you know, chat. And he said, Isaiah, I know your break is coming up because you take it every, you know, time we get back from summer camp. What if we did a Inside Out series, which was the movie, and we paired it with the fruit of the Spirit? You've done this before. You did it 9 weeks by yourself. But what if we helped you? And I said, yes. This is where Isaiah is learning his balance. When God has put a community around you, which is why it is so important to get involved in a healthy community. When they know you're getting ready to take a break, they encourage it. So here's been my thing. Okay. I'm just now getting back to preaching. This is late October. If I'm honest with you, the last time I preached was July 26th, and that was at summer camp. And then all of September, all of August and all of September, I took off from preaching. I facilitated. Now, here's what I did on the back end. I played drums in youth because we have young people that are busy, that are proactive, that we support, that we want to see go do be great things, right? It's like, hey, Isaiah, can you help play drums downstairs? I'm like, yeah, because you know what? Technically, I'm not preaching. So I play drums and then I'm calling on youth. Hey, can you close worship? So I'm playing drums, which is life-giving. And then I'm watching young people close worship, and then I'm watching my leaders preach. So I felt like I came into this mini sabbatical way more with an expectation of I'm going to rest and I'm going to enjoy it. But on the back end, I'm in this word getting ready as we conclude the year. So when this drops, we're in a steadfast series with our youth. How do you remain steadfast after all God did at summer camp? How do you remain steadfast in your faith? How do you remain steadfast? You know, so I love that. And I know, man, we're way over time, but I just wanted to ask you that question. Like, how do you, you know, stay balanced, you know?
The other part to that I can mention real quickly.
Please do it.
Jennifer and I, we have a rhythm of life. You know, Sundays are work days. And when that's done, we go home, and we have Sunday dinner with family. Monday, work day. Tuesday is a work day, but Tuesday night, every Tuesday night for almost the last 3 years. At least the last 3 years, we have had dinner with our best friends. That is so life-giving.
Yeah.
It helps us have sounding boards. It helps us both as a couple in relationship, but also a couple in ministry, people together. Right? They've done ministry with us for years, and so these are our best friends. Wednesday, Thursday, regular work days. Friday, we're back with our best friends, or we're with another couple having dinner, and we do that because that rhythm of life gives back to us. It gives to us instead of us constantly giving and giving and giving and giving and
Come
giving.
on,
And then
man.
November shows up and you're like, wow, I don't know if I want to do that again. So we
Right.
found a rhythm of life that is, we're going to give and then we receive back, and we're going to give and then we're going to receive back, right? We're going to
Yeah.
do the things that not only are we hired to do, called to do, we love to do,
Yep.
but all of that output can be draining. So how do we get it back? I love how you said that's a life-giving thing. Playing the drums for you is a life-giving thing.
Yeah.
That's what we do with our daily, our weekly life is we work and then so again, back to the concept of Pastor Jen likes her summers. We
Yeah.
work hard, but we know how to play hard. Right.
See,
We
that's
know
amazing.
how to actually bring and give get that life back
Yeah.
and say everything we're doing is worth it because we've got this couple, this time, this opportunity, and so we don't constantly give and get burnt out or overgive. We actually
Yeah.
receive back a whole lot more from some of our friends. And actually this month too, which I didn't mention because I'm not sure how to mention it. But every year since my dad passed away in 2014, Jennifer and I have taken a weekend away around her birthday to go and celebrate her birthday in the wine country of Yakima. And we go and we taste a couple of wines and such. And so that's very life-giving for us. And so that was our last trip. We did that this October. And, it's those types of things that help keep everything in balance, because then we get into our holiday season and then, and then. And so what we do is we give and then we receive. We do things that will give us life. And so we give and then we receive. That's the balance of it all. That's what keeps it all going and what allows me to be able to have so many irons in the fire and still feel productive and not burnt out.
I think one of the things that helps me function, and you're giving a shout out to your bride, and I got to do the same thing for me, is Heather is a huge advocate for saying, okay, we're doing too much. And she's also a huge believer in like, okay, we are saying yes, that's great, but she's also helped me say it's okay to say no. Like a healthy no goes a long way. And it's not a no, I don't want to. It's just a no, hey, I'm unable to. Like, unfortunately, I'm unable to commit to that right now in this time frame. So like for our young adults, we planned out the entire year what our Thanksgiving, Famsgiving, our Christmas, and then she was there during the planning process and she said, okay, don't forget the family. And I looked at everybody and I said, okay, before we do a pumpkin patch with you guys, my family's coming first.
Right. Exactly.
And I love you guys, but my first ministry is my family. And if I can't do that right, then I can't do anything else well. So I would say that, Thursdays, and I think by the time this drops, Bella is going into basketball tryouts.
Okay.
Which means we've already got the good chairs that are, where we can sit down on the bench where our backs will be supported. We made that investment. And I fully plan on being there. But you know what else I've committed to in this season, Pastor West? When I first started school, I was staying up till 2, 3 in the morning, knocking out homework, getting up early, because you hear people say, oh, the late nights, the early mornings. But I said, stop for a second. When my wife goes upstairs and goes to bed, I go upstairs and go to bed.
Amen. Amen.
Which means, which means, Isaiah, you better get done what it is you need to get done between this time and this time. That means no procrastinating. That means I need to put this thing in another room. That means I need to get into the books. So that means I've discovered a rhythm where if my quiz and my discussion is due on Thursday at 11:55 p.m., that means I'm doing my quiz on Monday, studying my tail off. That means I'm doing my discussion on Tuesday, studying my tail off. That means I am doing the necessary things. And then that leaves Tuesday night to get in preparation for my sermon, and then all day Wednesday to get in preparation for my sermon that I'm going to preach. So I've made a drastic turn, and my sleep is a priority. Going to bed next to my wife is a priority.
Oh yeah.
And it also helps me stay proactive instead of procrastinating. So I love that, man. I love it. So it's all good stuff, man. That's it, man. That's all I got for our life update.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been a good video, and again, just shout out to all of our subscribers and listeners. Thank you guys for the grace to kind of take that little break that we did, and
thank you.
Now you know why. And at the same time, we are still dedicated to bringing in some good content, and we're going to start bringing in guests again. And our next episode will be an interview, and so you guys can get ready for that. Season 9 is going to be coming as well, and we'd like to have a couple of interviews for that as well. And so, it's going to be good time, man. And you want to take us home? Let us know where they can reach us, and make sure that they know how to like and subscribe.
Yeah. So once again, we have a coffee. Listen, hold on. I'm not even done with my coffee, but as Pastor Wes has said before,
I'm done.
When the coffee is done, the episode is done.
There you go.
Go to buymeacoffee.com/Ministry Talks Podcast. Here's the deal. We love coffee. We do, not just because we're Washingtonians, but I believe, as we talked about life giving, coffee gives life too. And so we would love and appreciate your support in this season, whether it's a one-time gift or if you would like to do a reoccurring gift. We appreciate that. We really do. We appreciate all that because we're able to do things like be an affiliate on Riverside FM. Shout out to them. If you like what you heard, or if you would like to maybe ask us some questions, go to mintalkspodcast@gmail.com. And if this is your first time, we welcome you here. I want to encourage you to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, make sure you stay up to date on everything that we are doing. And we have a mantra that we say here: I do not know everything,
but we're willing to walk with you through anything.
And so we just appreciate you. We love you, and we cannot wait to see you on the next episode. Peace.
All right.